Hello friends, welcome to the channel. I am Dr. Vikas Singh Vadoria. I am working as Associate Professor in Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department, ABS Engineering College, Ghaziabad. This college is affiliated to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. In today's video, I will discuss about the firing angle control. This topic is related to the subject EHV, AC and DC. This subject is in the final year of the Electrical and Electronics Engineering branch of BTech. So let us start our discussion about the firing angle control. So before coming to the topic of firing angle control, that I would like to discuss the typical control strategies used in any HVDC system. So one is firing control. Another one is the current control. This current control is done at the rectifier end. Then the constant extinction angle control. This is done at the inverter terminal. Then current margin control, this is also done at inverter terminal. Voltage control done, this is done at inverter terminal. Then voltage dependent control, voltage dependent current limit, tape change control, and then power reversal. So these are the some typical control strategies used in HVDC system. Then any ideal control system, the desirable property that the ideal control system for any HVDC system should have, that it should have symmetry of valve turn on angle. Then it should have the ability to determine the turn on angle. This determination will be through by using the commutation voltage and margin minimum reactive power consumption. Then it should be insensitive to the various variation in the voltage and the frequency on the AC side. Then it should be able to predict the optimal turn on time. This prediction will be based on the actual system voltage and the DC current. Then this prediction should be in such a way that it will not have any commutation failure. Then it should also have the current control scheme with a sufficient margin of speed and stability to handle either a change in reference value or disturbance. This change in reference will be done whenever we are transferring the we are reversing the power, means changing the operation of any converter station, means a inverter station will operate as rectifier or rectifier station will operate as an inverter. Then the control hierarchy of any HVDC system, the HVDC system control, this is the overall control. Then after that the master control, then station control, after that pole control, then current control, then converter unit control, and ultimately at the lower end it is the valve unit firing control. So the basic requirement for firing pulse generation, the first requirement is that the firing instant for all the valves are determined at ground potential. Then the firing signal which are generated, those firing signals will be sent to individual thyristors by light signals, and this signal will be sent through optical fiber cables. Then the required gate power is made available at the potential of individual thyristors. This is for the electrically triggered thyristors, and for the light triggered thyristors, the light signal can be used directly. This will be given to individual thyristor. Then the gate pulse generator must send a pulse whenever required if the particular valve is to be kept in conduction state. Then the firing angle control, this is required for the operation of constant current control or the constant extinction angle control. This constant current control will be held at the rectifier terminal, and the constant extinction control will be held at the inverter terminal. So for this purpose, a continuous gate pulse generation is required, and that gate pulse will be sent to the respective valves. So the firing angle control is generally divided into two parts. One is the individual phase control, and another one is the equidistant pulse control. Then again, individual phase control or IPC is divided into two parts: the constant alpha control or inverse cosine control, and the EPC is divided into three parts, that is pulse frequency control, pulse period control, and pulse phase control. Out of these two schemes, this IPC was used in the past, and now it is replaced by the EPC techniques. So then we will discuss these one by one. The one is the individual phase control. This was used in earlier projects. The main feature is that the firing pulse generation for each valve is independent from each other. That's why it is known as individual phase control. And these firing pulses are synchronized with the commutation voltage. The two types of individual phase control are there. The one is the constant alpha and another one is inverse cosine. Then for the constant alpha control, the six commutation voltages are derived. These voltages are derived through the voltage transformers, and with respect to that, the six gate pulses are generated. These six gate pulses are generated with the identical delay times, and this will be generated with the sub when the voltage will cross zero, means zero crossing detector will be there. Just you can see in this figure, this is the generalized block diagram. We can easily understand with this figure that this is E1 and E2. This one is the phase, the voltage is E1, then this is E2, and these all are equidistant. This is 0 to pi, and then again difference of pi is there, pi to 2 pi, and then again the pi duration will be there. So whenever this E2 is crossing 0, this is the duration alpha. So at this time, means after the angle alpha, a gate pulse will generate. Similarly, at this point, again after the duration alpha, another gate pulse will generate. So this is the principle of constant alpha control. In this, the output of the zero crossing detector is a rectangular gate pulse, as we have seen in the previous diagram. The same pulse can be used to drive the valve. This can be delivered through the pulse amplifier if you want to increase its magnitude. And in order to control the instant at which this pulse reaches the valve, means that the time duration this pulse is generated, and if we want that this pulse should be delivered a little bit later, then a delay circuit can be used. And this the duration of delay will be calculated from the magnitude of control voltage Vc. This Vc is derived from the current or extinction angle controllers. Then another one is the inverse cosine control. In this, six timing voltages are each phase shifted by 90 degree and added separately to a common control voltage Vc. This is the figure. Two voltages are there and each are phase shifted by 90 degree. Then zero crossing of the sum of two voltages. In this, the gate pulse will be generated when the sum of these two voltages will cross the zero. So at this point, this voltage is having positive value, this voltage is having negative value. So these sum of these two voltages will be zero at this instant. So a gate pulse will generate. Then the delay angle, this alpha, which at which the gate pulse is generated, it is the proportional to the inverse cosine of the control voltage. It also depends on AC system voltage, amplitude and shape. The advantage of this control scheme is that the average DC voltage across the bridge varies linearly with the control voltage. Now another point, that it is essential in this scheme to maintain phase shift at 90 degree, because the when both voltages are phase shifted at 90 degree, and then the sum of these two will cross zero, at that time gate pulse will generate. So it is essential to maintain a phase shift of 90 degree for this purpose. Then the main drawbacks of this IPC scheme, that the major drawback is the aggravation of harmonic instability, and this instability is characterized by magnification of non-characteristic harmonics in steady state. And this is mainly due to the fact that if there is any distortion in system voltage, so this distortion will disturb the zero crossing, and ultimately if there is disturbance in the zero crossing in both the cases, whether that is constant alpha or inverse cosine control, then the instant of firing pulse will be affected. So that effect that because the gate pulse is generated at the instant of zero crossing, so there should not be any shift in that zero crossing. So it means this implies that even when the fundamental frequency voltage components are balanced, but the firing pulses are not equidistant, because the zero crossing will not be at equidistant location. So this in turn leads to generation of non-characteristic harmonics, means order of those harmonics is not equal to np plus minus 1. So this problem is aggravated at the frequency for which the filter impedance and system impedance are in parallel resonance, means where the at the condition when filter impedance and system impedance both are in parallel resonance condition, at that condition the harmonic problem will be more. So this problem of harmonic instability can be overcome. Then another one, that we can use filter in the control circuit, and if by any method we can change the dependency of firing angle on zero crossing. So this one is the most attractive solution, and this leads to the equidistant pulse firing scheme, means another scheme. So there are three types. In this scheme, the firing pulse are generated in steady state at equal interval of 1 upon Pf. F is the frequency, P is the number of pulse, through a ring counter. Three variation: pulse frequency control, pulse period control, and pulse phase control. So in pulse frequency control, a voltage controlled oscillator is used. The frequency of VCO is determined by the control voltage Vc. This Vc depends on the error in the quantity being regulated, means this the voltage Vc is depending on the error. Error means this that error in the quantity which is being controlled. Then steady state operation of frequency, the Pf naught, where f naught is the nominal frequency and P is the number of pulse. EFC system has an integral characteristic where it is having a property like an integral action. So it has to be used along with the feedback control. Because of the integral characteristic, it has to be used along with feedback for the maintaining stabilization. Then now this is the block diagram of this scheme. This is the control voltage Vc. This V1 is the constant voltage. Now this is the integration property. Then a comparator V3 is the proportional to the system period, then pulse generator, and then ring counter. So this is the block diagram. The voltage controlled oscillator, it consists of an integrator, comparator, and pulse generator, as we have seen in the block diagram. Output pulses of the generator drive the ring counter and also reset the integrator. Means whenever pulse generated from this pulse generator, this will go to the ring counter and it will reset the integrator, and it will drive the ring counter. Then another one is the pulse period control. This is similar to the PFC, but only difference is that the VC is connected at the comparator terminal. So VC is now summed with the V3 instead of V1. In the previous scheme, that VC was connected at this point. Now in this scheme, that VC is summed with the V3. And another one is the pulse phase control, or PPC. In this, an analog circuit is configured to generate firing pulse. The firing pulse will be generated as per this equation, where VCN and VCN minus 1, these are the control voltages at instant of Tn and Tn minus 1. Now for proportional current control, the steady state can be reached when error or VC is constant. Out of these two, any one has to be constant. To reduce error to zero, a slow alpha control with feedback signal taken from the measured delay angle. Means if we want to reduce this error, a slow control with feedback signal taken from the measured delay angle can be used. This signal, in addition to a signal derived from frequency error, is used to control the voltage V1. Means a signal which is derived from this point and a signal derived from frequency error that can be used to control V1, and ultimately these two will control the error and reduce the error to 0. Then the different drawbacks of this EPC scheme, that under unbalanced voltage conditions, EPC result in less DC voltage as compared to IPC. And then unbalance in the voltage result from single phase to ground fault in the AC system, and this may persist for over 10 cycles. And then under such condition, it is desirable to maximize DC power transfer in the link, which calls for IPC. Means in this case, we need the IPC control scheme. However, transmission from EPC to IPC under fault condition has to be evaluated carefully. Means it is not easy task to shift from EPC to IPC. Then EPC scheme also results in higher negative damping contribution to torsional oscillations, and this is the condition when HVDC is the major transmission link for a thermal station. Then this problem is not so serious as the problem of non-characteristic harmonics associated with IPC. So these are the two references which were used to develop this content. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, then please like the video, share and comment in the comment box. Also subscribe the channel for the latest video notification. Thank you.